The disappearance of Hannah Collins. It was a gray, rainy afternoon in Seattle on March 14, 2010. 17-year-old Hannah Collins stayed late at Lakeview High School's library, working on her science project. Known for her intelligence and bright personality, she often spent extra hours studying, hoping to get into a top medical school. The library was nearly empty as she packed her books and laptop, saying goodbye to Mrs. Thompson, the librarian, who smiled warmly, unaware that this would be the last time she saw Hannah that day. Hannah stepped out into the cold drizzle, holding her umbrella tightly. The streets were quiet except for the occasional car splashing puddles across the sidewalks. Before we begin this chilling real story, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell icon, so you never miss the next mysterious case we uncover. She walked briskly along Green Lake Avenue, her backpack snug on her shoulders, heading toward her usual bus stop. At approximately 5:30 p.m., her phone pinged one last time near the edge of Green Lake, signaling her last known location. After that, she simply disappeared. By 6:30 p.m., Hannah's mother, Mrs. Collins, began to worry when her daughter did not return home. She tried calling Hannah multiple times, but the phone went straight to voicemail. By 7 p.m., she and her husband, Mr. Collins, contacted the Seattle Police Department. Officers arrived at their home to take statements and began piecing together Hannah's last movements. They spoke with neighbors, friends, and teachers, gathering every detail about her day. Within hours, police discovered Hannah's backpack abandoned at the library entrance, soaked from the rain. There were no signs of struggle, no footprints leading away, and no other clues at the scene. Detective Marcus Reynolds, a seasoned officer with 20 years of experience, was assigned to the case. He immediately began interviewing people close to Hannah. First, he spoke with her boyfriend, Ethan Moore, a 19-year-old known for a short temper, but genuinely distraught that day. "I loved her. I would never hurt her," Ethan insisted, tears in his eyes. Next, he questioned Paul Collins, Hannah's stepfather, who claimed he had been home the entire evening. Though his alibi seemed plausible, subtle signs of nervousness did not escape the detective's attention. Finally, he spoke with George Lang, a taxi driver seen near Green Lake at the time, who offered an account that seemed rehearsed and overly cooperative. Despite these interviews, no direct evidence linked anyone to Hannah's disappearance. The following morning, the story dominated local news. Posters of Hannah's smiling face appeared on lampposts, in shops, and on buses. Social media began circulating messages urging anyone with information to contact the police. Community members organized search parties, walking streets and parks, calling out her name. But no trace of Hannah was found. Hannah's cell phone remained the only tangible clue. The device had pinged near the edge of Green Lake at around 5:30 p.m., suggesting she had been moving toward the park area. However, the heavy rain had erased any potential footprints or other traces. Detective Reynolds wrote in his report, "The location of the ping suggests she was moving toward the park, but there is no indication of an altercation or forced entry. Her disappearance appears sudden and unprovoked." The few clues left behind included her abandoned backpack, the last phone location, and later discovered diary entries hinting that Hannah had sensed danger from someone close to her. Witness reports of suspicious figures near Green Lake added to the chilling mystery. Each detail hinted at a story far more complex than anyone could have imagined, a story that would remain unsolved until someone chose to reopen it years later. The cold case years, 2010-2012. After the initial frenzy surrounding Hannah Collins's disappearance, Seattle slowly returned to its usual rhythm. But for her family, the nightmare had just begun. Weeks turned into months, and the trail of clues seemed to evaporate into the rain-soaked streets where Hannah was last seen. Police continued their investigation, re-interviewing friends and classmates, checking alibis, and coordinating with neighboring departments, yet every lead seemed to dead end. The backpack at the library, the lone ping from her phone, and minor eyewitness reports were all the authorities had, none of them providing a clear path to her whereabouts. Hannah's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Collins, were devastated. Mrs. Collins spent sleepless nights poring over her daughter's belongings, searching for anything she might have missed. Notes, receipts, diaries, anything that could explain why Hannah vanished. Friends described Hannah as cautious and intelligent, someone who rarely wandered without telling anyone. Her disappearance, therefore, was baffling and completely out of character. The community offered support at first, organizing volunteer search parties at Green Lake, the surrounding neighborhoods, and nearby wooded areas. But as weeks passed, the search dwindled. Police classified the case as a high-priority missing person case, but faced a frustrating lack of evidence. Detective Marcus Reynolds noted in his monthly report, "Despite repeated canvassing of Green Lake and surrounding areas, no new eyewitnesses or physical evidence have emerged. All suspects initially questioned remain without motive or opportunity that can be confirmed. During this period, rumors began circulating in the neighborhood. Some believed Hannah had run away voluntarily due to teenage stress or personal issues. Others whispered more sinister theories, suspecting foul play from someone close to her. Neighbors recalled seeing a suspicious man loitering near Green Lake in the days before her disappearance, while others mentioned a black sedan seen parked near the school repeatedly during the week. None of these leads were ever substantiated. In 2011, small fragments of hope appeared when a friend discovered Hannah's diary, hidden in her room, tucked beneath her bed. Most entries were normal teenage thoughts about school, friends, and dreams, but a few stood out. In one passage, Hannah wrote, "I feel like someone is watching me. I can't tell anyone. They would never believe me." Another entry hinted at tension at home. "Sometimes I wish I could just disappear and start over, but I don't want to hurt anyone. I have to be careful." These entries puzzled the police and her family, suggesting that she may have sensed danger before vanishing. Throughout 2012, Detective Reynolds revisited the case periodically, reviewing old interviews, photos, and phone records. Technology at the time limited the ability to track her precise movements, and the heavy rainfall that night had erased footprints and other potential traces near Green Lake. Still, every report, no matter how small, was carefully logged and analyzed. Occasionally, friends claimed to have seen Hannah after her disappearance, but none of these sightings could be confirmed. By the end of 2012, the case was classified as a cold case, with hope dimming but never entirely extinguished. Hannah's parents refused to give up. Every missing persons bulletin, every tip call, and every new piece of information kept them clinging to the possibility that one day the mystery of their daughter's disappearance would be solved. The diary, the suspicious sightings, and the phone ping remained the only threads of truth in a tangled web of uncertainty. Threads that would later become critical in reopening the investigation years later. Podcaster Evelyn Ross investigates 2018-2019. Years had passed since Hannah Collins disappeared, but her case remained unresolved, haunting her family and the Seattle community. In 2018, Evelyn Ross, a renowned true crime podcaster known for reopening cold cases, stumbled upon Hannah's story while researching unsolved disappearances in the Pacific Northwest. Intrigued by the mystery and the lack of leads, Evelyn decided to travel to Seattle and investigate the case personally, hoping to uncover clues that the police had overlooked. Upon arrival, Evelyn met with Hannah's parents, who were both nervous and hopeful. They showed her Hannah's diary, school records, photographs, and the original police reports. As Evelyn flipped through the diary, she noticed entries that had previously been dismissed as teenage anxiety. One line stood out. "If anything happens to me, it won't be a stranger." Evelyn immediately recognized the implication. Hannah had sensed danger from someone she knew, and that insight became the starting point of Evelyn's investigation. Evelyn spent the next few weeks interviewing Hannah's friends, classmates, and teachers. One of Hannah's close friends recalled seeing her tense during lunch periods in the weeks leading up to her disappearance, frequently glancing over her shoulder. Another friend mentioned that Hannah had grown distant from her stepfather, Paul Collins, complaining about his controlling nature at home. Teachers noted that Hannah had been cautious but unusually anxious that spring, sometimes arriving early to avoid someone in the hallways. She also visited the library in Green Lake, retracing Hannah's last known movements. Evelyn analyzed surveillance footage from nearby stores and traffic cameras from 2010, despite the poor quality. One camera captured a shadowy figure near the edge of the park at around 5:30 p.m., walking quickly, and another frame showed a black sedan parked suspiciously across the street from the library. Though inconclusive, these subtle details added layers of suspicion that had been overlooked by the original investigation. During her research, Evelyn received anonymous messages warning her to stop investigating. One email read, "Stop digging, or you'll end up like her." Another came in the form of a voicemail on her phone, a distorted voice simply saying, "Leave it alone." Rather than deter her, these warnings intensified Evelyn's determination to uncover the truth. In early 2019, Evelyn managed to track down Hannah's remaining social contacts, including a former classmate who revealed that Hannah had confided in a trusted friend about strange occurrences at home, hints that someone close to her family might have been involved in illegal activities. Evelyn carefully documented every account, cross-referencing details with police records and diary entries. Slowly, patterns began to emerge. Someone familiar with Hannah's routine, someone who could manipulate events without leaving clear evidence, might have orchestrated her disappearance. The podcaster also examined Hannah's phone records and the timeline of pings near Green Lake. By comparing old records with witness accounts, Evelyn concluded that Hannah had likely encountered the suspicious black sedan near the library and may have been coerced into a vehicle or followed into the park. While the exact details remained unclear, Evelyn knew this clue would prove critical in the years to come. By the end of 2019, Evelyn had amassed a detailed dossier, a combination of interviews, photographs, diary excerpts, and witness statements. It was evident that Hannah's disappearance was far from random. Someone close to her family or home environment had likely been involved. This conclusion set the stage for Evelyn's next phase, uncovering hidden evidence that had remained undiscovered for nearly a decade. Hidden Evidence and Twists, 2020-2021. By 2020, Evelyn Ross had spent nearly 2 years investigating Hannah Collins' disappearance. Her persistence began to pay off when she discovered a hidden folder of old-school files and personal documents in the Collins family attic, overlooked by previous investigators. Among the files were photographs, letters, and receipts suggesting unusual activity surrounding Hannah's home and her stepfather, Paul Collins. Some receipts showed large unexplained cash withdrawals, while others indicated payments to obscure companies with no clear purpose. Evelyn sensed that these small details might be the key to unraveling the mystery. Further investigation revealed that Paul Collins had connections to a small but dangerous human trafficking network operating in the Pacific Northwest. Evelyn cross-referenced the receipts and documents with police databases and discovered that some of the individuals linked to these payments had criminal records for coercion and illegal transport of minors. This revelation shocked her, and she realized that Hannah's disappearance might not have been random, but part of a far more sinister scheme. While digging deeper into old police files, Evelyn found reports of a woman frequently seen with a teenage girl, matching Hannah's description in the months following her disappearance. Initially dismissed as unverified sightings, Evelyn took these seriously and began tracing the woman's background. Through painstaking research, she discovered that the woman was actually Hannah's biological aunt, who had secretly taken Hannah under her wing to protect her from Paul's network. This explained the mysterious sightings and suggested that Hannah had been alive for months after the disappearance, living in hiding with a trusted family member. The investigation also uncovered conflicting alibis and previously overlooked inconsistencies. For example, Paul had claimed he was home the night Hannah vanished, but a neighbor's diary entry hinted at strange visitors at the Collins residence that evening. Meanwhile, surveillance photos from nearby streets showed a black sedan near Green Lake multiple times that day, matching descriptions from witnesses collected years ago. Evelyn realized that these small details, ignored by the original investigation, were critical to understanding the sequence of events. Tension escalated when Evelyn discovered threatening correspondence directed at the Collins family, dating back to months before Hannah disappeared. The letters warned against exposing illegal activities, clearly indicating that someone involved in Paul's network had been aware of Hannah's awareness of their operations. This revelation explained why Hannah had written in her diary, "If anything happens to me, it won't be a stranger." Her instincts had been correct. The danger came from someone close to her family. As Evelyn pieced the evidence together, she realized the full scope of the mystery. Hannah had been in imminent danger, but protective forces within her own family had kept her safe, moving her from location to location. The story was no longer a simple missing person case. It had transformed into a tangled web of family betrayal, criminal networks, and hidden heroes. Each discovery brought Evelyn closer to understanding the true danger Hannah faced and set the stage for the dramatic exposure and resolution that would come in the following years. Truth Revealed and Justice 2022. By 2022, Evelyn Ross had gathered enough evidence to prompt authorities to reopen Hannah Collins' case. The Seattle Police Department, working alongside federal agencies, began an intensive investigation into Paul Collins and his suspected criminal network. Evelyn's meticulous documentation, including photographs, diary excerpts, witness statements, and financial records, provided critical leads that the original investigation had overlooked. Investigators discovered that Paul had been using his connections to orchestrate Hannah's disappearance, intending to hide her from anyone who might uncover illegal activity. However, thanks to Hannah's aunt and a network of trusted family friends, Hannah had been kept safe in secret locations across Washington state, moved carefully to avoid detection. Police were finally able to confirm Hannah's whereabouts during her years in hiding through coordinated interviews and verification of sightings reported earlier. In a dramatic turn of events, authorities raided properties associated with Paul Collins and his contacts, arresting multiple individuals linked to illegal trafficking operations. Paul Collins himself was taken into custody after a tense confrontation with detectives. When confronted, he initially denied involvement, but mounting evidence, including financial records, correspondence, and witness testimonies, left him with no choice but to confess. Meanwhile, Hannah was reunited with her family after nearly 12 years. The reunion was emotional and deeply cathartic, with tears, embraces, and heartfelt words exchanged. Her parents had never given up hope, and finally, seeing their daughter alive brought closure to years of uncertainty, fear, and grief. Hannah, now older and stronger, shared her experiences with the authorities, explaining how her aunt and trusted allies had kept her hidden from those who sought to harm her. The case received widespread media attention. Evelyn Ross dedicated a special episode of her true crime podcast to Hannah's story, detailing the investigation, the hidden evidence, and the eventual arrests. The story highlighted both the dangers Hannah faced and the bravery of those who protected her. It also served as a warning and lesson about vigilance, family trust, and the importance of never ignoring the instincts of someone in danger. Ultimately, justice was served. Paul Collins and his associates faced charges ranging from kidnapping to trafficking, ensuring they would be held accountable. Hannah, though forever marked by the experience, found solace in her survival, the return to her family, and the knowledge that the truth had finally been revealed. The case closed a chapter of fear and uncertainty, replacing it with a story of resilience, courage, and the power of persistence in uncovering long-hidden truths. Epilogue and Reflection. 2023. By 2023, Hannah Collins had begun rebuilding her life after 12 years of uncertainty and fear. Though the experience had left deep emotional scars, she found solace in the support of her family, friends, and the community that had never stopped caring about her disappearance. Therapy, support groups, and her own determination helped her regain confidence and start pursuing her dreams once again. She returned to her studies with renewed focus, determined to honor the resilience that had kept her alive during those difficult years. The community of Seattle reflected on the case as a stark reminder of vigilance and the importance of listening to intuition. Schools implemented additional safety measures. Families became more aware of subtle signs that a child might be in danger, and local law enforcement reviewed other cold cases in hopes of uncovering overlooked evidence. Hannah's story became an example of both the dangers lurking in everyday life and the profound impact of courage and protection within a family. Evelyn Ross, the podcaster whose dedication helped reopen the case, continued to share Hannah's story as a symbol of hope for other families with missing children. The podcast episode detailing Hannah's disappearance, the hidden evidence, and the eventual justice became one of her most listened to and widely praised pieces of work. Evelyn emphasized the critical role that persistence, attention to detail, and the bravery of those who protected Hannah played in solving the case. Hannah herself chose to speak publicly about her experience for the first time in 2023, advocating for missing children and vulnerable teens. She highlighted the importance of trusting instincts, reporting suspicious activity, and relying on trusted allies when danger arises. Her advocacy inspired many and helped raise awareness about the hidden networks that prey on the innocent. Ultimately, the story of Hannah Collins ended not with despair, but with resilience, hope, and justice. The criminals responsible were held accountable, her family reunited, and a dark chapter in Seattle's history was brought to light. Her journey stood as a testament to the strength of the human spirit, the power of persistence in uncovering truth, and the unwavering hope that even in the darkest circumstances, survival and justice are possible.